Term 5, Lesson 13, Area. This lesson might be a little bit longer than previous lessons because I want to try and get area done in one lesson today. Okay, so your warm-up, if you press pause on the video, have a go at these 3 questions, and then press play when you're ready to check the answers. Okay, 8 times 2 is 16. 2 with a little 2 up high, that means 2 squared, not 2 times 2. So 2 times, here it is 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. This sign is a square root sign, so the square root of 16, this is the opposite of squaring. So when we're looking for our square root, we need to think of a number that when we multiply it by itself, we get that answer. So what number multiplied by itself gives 16? 4 times 4 is 16, so the square root of 16 is 4. What number multiplied by itself gives 81? 9. 9 times 9 makes 81. Again here, what number multiplied by itself makes 64? Well, it's 8. 8 times 8 equals 64. Question 2, which of these rectangles have an area of 16? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 3 is 15, so it's not A. If we had 4 squares along and 4 squares down, we would have 16 here, so it's shape B. 3 lots of 8 is 24, so it's not that one. 2 lots of 8 is 16, so yes, it's that one, so it's so far B and D. 6 lots of 10 is 60, so it's not that one, it would be B and D, which has a perimeter of 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus another 8 is 16, so again it would be A. 4 add 4 is 8, double it is 16, A and B. 8, 9, 10, 11, 22, no. 8, 9, 10, 20, so it's not that one. 10 add 6 is 16, double it to 32, so it's not that one. So it's B and D for the area and A and B for the perimeter. B and D and area A and B, yes. Okay, so it's simplify for question 3. So we don't need the multiply sign there. We would just write it as 5y. When it comes to the likes of this one, we need to do 2 times 4 is 8. And remember, there's an x there, so it'd be 8x. For this one, 3 times 3 is 9, but there's a y, so 9y. 18 lots of a half. 18 halves is 9, and there's an x there, so it's 9x. Okay, if you need to write those down, press pause on the video and then press play when you're ready. So key point, the area is the total space covered by a shape. You can find the area of a shape drawn on squared paper by counting the squares inside it. Units for area are things like millimetre squared for something very tiny, centimetre squared, metre squared, and then kilometres squared will be probably sort of things like land and things like that. Oh, why are we going backwards again? Sorry about that. There we go. Here we've got 1 centimetre by 1 centimetre, so you've got a centimetre square there. Okay, we read it as centimetre squared and we say square centimetres. They mean the same thing. It's standard to write it as the unit of measure and a little squared sign after. If we did a diagonal across this square, we would have half a square, so we would have half a centimetre squared. So find the area of each shape by counting the squares. So let's have a little look at the first one. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, we've got 5 whole squares, but we've also got 1, 2 half squares. So 2 halves, if I put those together, I'd have 1 square. So 5 whole squares plus 2 halves would be 6 centimetres square, or 6 square centimetres. If we did B, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whole squares, and 1, 2, 3, 4 half squares. 4 halves will make 2 whole ones. So 5 add 2 will make 7. Okay, let's look at the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whole squares plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 half squares. 6 halves make 3 whole ones, so 6 add 3 makes 9. Okay, you can do this by counting the squares when we've got exact halves that we can add together. Okay, to work out the area of a rectangle or square, use area equals length times width. We write that in like a short form. Capital A stands for area, and length W, we know when they're together like this with no symbol in between, it does mean multiply. Length times width. So our length is our width. So write an expression for the area of each triangle. Write each answer in its simplest form. All measurements are in centimetres. So let's just look at the first one. Our length times width. So we've got length is 4, our width is 3y. So we shorten this or simplify this. 4 times 3 is 12. There's a y here, so we need to keep the y. And because it's an area, and we're told it's centimetres, it's squared. Okay, press pause at this point and have a go at B and C on your own. And press play when you're ready to go through the answers. 5B. We've got a length of 12 and a width of 2w. So remember, we're always going to start with this length times w. Length is 12 times 2w. So length times width, 12 times 2w. 2 times 12 is 24. We've got a w there, and it's centimetres square. So C, again, length times w. Length is 10 times a half. So 10 lots of a half is 5 centimetres square. Sorry, 5x. There's an x there as well. So 10 halves is 5. And we've got an x, and it's an area, so it's centimetres squared. Okay, if you want to draw these at any time in your books, just press pause and make sure you've got a ruler and a pencil for drawing your shapes. Okay, work out the area of each square. I'm just going to start you off with the first one. So 6A, it's 1 times 1. Length times width, 1 times 1. Now press pause on the video to have a go at B through to A. And see how you go. Press pause on the video and press play when you're ready to carry on. Okay, so B is 2 times 2. C is 3 times 3. 4 times 4. 5 times 5. And last one we've got L times L. So we have L squared. Okay. This is shown as L squared because here we could write 3 squared, centimetres squared, but we've actually done our 3 squared to make 9. Here we don't know what L is, so we're writing that it's going to be L squared, and it's centimetres squared because it's an area. Okay, what type of numbers are your answers to question 6? So very quickly, just write down what you think that would be. One word, 7 letters, or 6 letters. Okay. So if you look up the numbers, what have we done? We've done 1 times 1, we've done 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4. When a number is multiplied by itself, they are square numbers. So I was looking for that. It's the important 6 letters. Okay. Oh, gone. And it's back. Question 7. Oh, what's happened to question 7? That was question 7, right. Question 8. Copy and complete the workings to find the area of this shape. So, could you please sketch that shape in your book, use a pencil and a ruler, press pause, and then once you've got everything drawn on that is showing here, we will then carry on. Right, you've got your shape drawn. Okay, we've got all our lengths all the way around. Got no missing lengths, so we could find the perimeter if we wanted to, but we're not finding perimeter now, we're doing area. Now, this is a funny shape. So we're going to decide to do a little line down here to split it into a rectangle here and a rectangle here to help us find the total area. So this little shape here is 5 centimetres times 3 centimetres. But you've got to be careful of, you're not going to use 11 because 11 is this whole distance. We only want this distance here for this rectangle. Okay, so this is going to be 5 times 3, which is 15, it shows it. So for this rectangle, we don't actually need this 2. We're coming down here. It's not going to be 11 because 11 is the whole distance. We need to find what this bit is across here. So we look at the top, it's going to be 8 times 7. For the second one, 7 times 8 is 56. And to find the total area, we would add both those areas together. So we know that the first area is 15 centimetres square. The second area was 56 centimetres square. So we add those together. We have 71 centimetres square is the whole area of the pink shape. Okay, if you need to press pause so you can look at this shape some more and look at how we arrived at the area, please do so. These do get a little bit tricky, so you need to understand what's happening here. Press play when you're ready to carry on to question 9. Okay, question 9. We've got 3 different shapes here. For each shape, work out the missing length A, work out the missing length B, and then work out the area of the shape. Right, so I'm just going to talk you through the blue shape, and you can have a go at the green and pink on your own. So the blue shape here, we know this length, we don't know this one, we don't know this one, but we do know this, we do know this, and we do know this. So always take time to look at the shape you're presented with and find out what you do know. Okay, I've got 5 centimetres here. So for the right-hand side of my shape, I've got 2 and something. I know they need to make 5. So I could do 5, take away 2, would leave me with 3. Or I could think about it. I've got 5. I've got 2, add something, has got to make 5. So 2 add 3 makes 5. So I know A is going to be 3. So 3 add 2 does equal 5. Now for this one here, I know that the long length is 7. I've got 3 here, so I know it's 3 to here, and I've got to find that one. So I can say 3 add something makes 7, or I can do 7 subtract 3 will leave me this bit. So 7 subtract 3 will give me 4. So I know now that 3 add 4 does total 7. Now I can find the area of this shape. I've divided it down here. I could have divided it along there, but I've divided it down here. So this shape is 5 times 3. 5 times 3 is 15 centimetres squared. Remember, you're not going to use 7 for this part of the rectangle, the shape. So this shape here, I've got 4 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. And to find the whole blue area, add those two together and we'll find we've got 23 centimetres square. Okay, have a go at the green shape and the pink shape on your own. Press pause on the video. I would suggest drawing the shapes so you can see where you're putting the line and then finding the area of your rectangles that you make. The pink shape, I think you'll be making that into 3 individual rectangles. Press pause and press play when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, the green shape. First of all, we've got to find our missing lengths. So we know the whole length is 8. We know 4 of it. So we know 4 comes along to here. So 4, add another 4, will make 8. So this is the same length as 4. Here, we don't know what the long length is, but we do know that that bit is 1.5 and this bit is 1.5. So that 1.5, add that 1.5 will give us B. 1.5 add 1.5 is 3. So we know that's 3 centimetres. So now you need to decide, are you going to draw your line here or here? I'm going there. Okay, so I've got a rectangle here and a rectangle here. So to find my first area, I'm not using 8 because that's all the way along here. I only want this distance here, which I can do on the other side, which is 4. So I've got 4 times 1.5 for this rectangle, and for this rectangle, I've got 4 times 3. So 4 times 1.5 is 6 centimetres squared, and 4 times 3 is 12 centimetres squared. If I add those two together, we have 18 centimetres square for the green shape. Same thing here for the pink shape. Here's my A that I need to find. I do know that I've got 4 and 3. 4 and 3 makes 7. So I know about 7 to here, but I don't know that one. I do know that the whole distance is 16. So I know 7 of the 16. So 7 add 9 makes 16. Or 16 subtract 7 will give you 9. So I know that distance A is 9. I need B. B's in the middle of the shape here. I know that the whole distance is 10. I know that this part is 5. So I've got to find the rest of it. I know that 5 add 5 makes 10. Okay, I could do 10, take away what I know, and will tell me what's left. Okay, so now you need to work out where you're going to draw your lines. You could draw your line along here and along here, but I'm going to draw mine here. One there and one there. I've still got 3 rectangles, and your answer will be the same whichever way you do it. So I know that I've got 4 centimetres by 10 centimetres here, which is 40. I've got 3 centimetres by 5 centimetres here. My line's a little bit off here, but I know that that's 3 times 5, which is 15. And my final shape, it's not 16 times 10. It's going to be 9 times 10, which is 90. Okay, so my 40 for my first rectangle, which was here, my 3 times 5, which is here, my last one, 9 times 10 here. Add them all together, we will have 145 centimetres square for the pink shape. It would be worth pausing just to check these shapes out again, just to make sure you fully understand what you have done. Okay, I would rather you take time just to look and maybe play around, do shape C again, but with your line here and here, to make sure you come out with the same answer. Okay, it's just practicing. How about having another go at the green shape, but draw your line here and see if you get the same answer. Same with the blue shape. Have a go at drawing the line there. Make sure you get 23 centimetres squared as your answer. Okay, make sure you understand this slide before moving to the next one. So question 10. The diagram shows the dimensions of a cafe that is going to have new flooring. Work out each missing length marked with a square. Work out the area of the flooring required, and how many different ways are there to work out the area of the floor? Okay, so the first part, we need to find some answers in here for the square. These are missing lengths that we don't know. So if I look down here, I know that this whole length here is 6, and I know 5 of it, I just don't know the rest of it. So 6, subtract 5, will leave 1. So I know that that measurement there's got to be 1. I'm just going to check. 5, 6. Yeah, 6. Here we've got 7. I know 5 of it. So 7, subtract 5 that I know will leave me 2. So if I just check here, 5, add 2, 5, 6, 7, does make 7. Okay, that's part A. Work out the area of the flooring required. So we need to decide where we're going to split our shape. I'm going to go across here. I'm going to do a horizontal line to give me a rectangle up here and a rectangle here. So this rectangle is going to be 7 times 5, which is 35. And my rectangle down here, that's not going to be 6. I need to use this length, which is 5, and this length, which I now know is 1. So this is going to be 5 times 1, which is 5 meters squared. So to find the whole area of that flooring, I add these together. So 35 add 5 makes 40 meters squared. Okay, so we've done B. C says, how many different ways are there to work out the area of the floor? I could divide a line here instead of down here to give me a rectangle here and a bigger one here. So this would be, no, not 7. This would be 5 times 2, which would be 10. And this would be, no, not 7. It would be 6 times 5, which is 30. Add the 10, we would still have 40. Alternatively, let's just see this come down. We could find the whole area of the shape if it was a proper rectangle, not with a little corner cut out of it. So if we found the whole area, that would be 7 times 6. 7 times 6 is 42, but we need to cut this little rectangle out. So if we find the area of this little rectangle, which is 2 meters by 1 meter, which would be 2 meters squared. So we take that away, we're cutting it away, and that would leave us 40 meters squared. So you can see 1, 2, 3 different ways of doing it. We've got the same answer. So the first way was to split it here, have this as a rectangle and this as a rectangle. Second way was to split it this way, have that rectangle and this rectangle. And finally, the third way was to find the whole shape and then find the area of the bit you're cutting away and take it away. Okay, once again, press pause on the video. Really have a look at this to make sure you do know what has happened on this page. When you're feeling comfortable with what you're doing, we'll move to the next slide. Key point, when finding the area of a shape, all dimensions must be in the same units of measure. So if we look at this shape, we've got millimeters and we've got centimeters. But we need to find our answer in centimeters square and millimeters square. So we need to have millimeters and centimeters all the way around here. I know that there's 10 millimeters to 1 centimeter. And I ask you to check on your ruler here. You will see, if you come along and look for 9 centimeters, they're the bigger bits on your ruler, you will see there's 90 little bits on your ruler. So, yeah. So 9 times 10 will give me 90 millimeters as an equivalent measurement. 9 centimeters or 90 millimeters. So I'm not sure which way I'll go round now. I'll see if it's this one. 50 millimeters. So to find millimeters into centimeters, I need to divide by 10. So they're going to walk over this way one place. So it's going to be 5 centimeters. This one's the same. 50 millimeters will be 5 centimeters. This is in millimeters, so I need to divide by 10 to change it to centimeters. So it's going to move over to the ones. That is going to move over into the tenths. So it's going to become 4.5 centimeters. Oh, that's jumped up without me asking it to, but there we go. We need to find the length of that. We know that we've got 90 millimeters down this whole length. We know about 50 millimeters. So if I did 90 millimeters, subtract 50 millimeters, it would leave me with 40 millimeters. If I divide this by 10, it moves over one place, it's the same as 4 centimeters. So if I just check with these green measurements, that length is 4, that length is 5. 4 add 5 does make 9. Now for this length along here, I've got 45 millimeters and 50 millimeters. So 50 add 45 is 95. If I divide that by 10, it's going to become 9.5 centimeters. Okay, so I've got all my distances. Now we need to divide the shape. Okay, you could divide it along here, or you could divide it up here. It doesn't matter. From the previous slide, you will realize you will still get the same answer. Okay, that's my missing sides. So I'm going to divide it here. Now, rather than calling it area B and area A and area B, etc., I'm calling it just area 1 and area 2. Okay, area 1, area 2. So my area 1, I've got to be careful. It's not 95 millimeters or 9.5 centimeters, because that's the whole distance. I need to find here the shorter distance. Right, we'll do centimeters first. So we've got 5 centimeters times 9 centimeters for this one. So 5 times 9 is 45. If we do this area 2, no, it's not 9.5, it's 4 centimeters times 4.5 centimeters. So 4 times 4.5 equals 18. Now to find the whole area of the green shape, we need to add those two together. So 45 add 18 makes 63 centimeters square. Okay, now we've got to do it all again, but this time in millimeters. Okay, so I'm still going to leave my line here. And remember, I'm not using this whole line. I want that shorter length, which is down here. It's showing us 50 millimeters times 90 millimeters. Okay, remember the short way to do this. Do 9 times 5 is 45, but you've got 1, 2 zeros to plonk on the end here, or place on the end. Area 2, we're in millimeters. No, not 95, because that's the whole distance. We've got 40 millimeters times 45 millimeters. So 4 lots of 45, 180, and 1 0 on the end. Add them together. We've got 6,300 millimeters. Okay, you might think, why is this such a bigger number than this? Because remember, we're doing squared numbers. So there's 10 millimeters in a centimeters, but 10 squared is 100. Okay, so this is going to be 100 times bigger than this one because it's 10 squared. 10 tens are 100. That's why it's a much bigger number for millimeters than it is for centimeters. But once again, just so you can be clear what's happening on that page, if you want to press pause, draw your shape, Maybe have a go at dividing it here to check that you still get the same answer. Just press pause and then carry on when you're ready to carry on. Okay, so 4 questions here. I'd like you to have a go at on your own. They're a little bit tough in places, so think about it, but give it a go. Press pause, and then once you've had a good go at it, a good try, press play, and we'll go through the answers. Right, question 12. A square has an area of 81 centimetres squared. What is its side length and what's its perimeter? So it's a square. So we know, if you're thinking back to previous slides, we're going to find the square root. We're not squaring a number because we've already got the answer. So we're doing the inverse, we're finding the square root. So we've got to think what number multiplied by itself gives us 81. Okay, you really need to keep practicing your tables so you know these numbers. So I know that it's 9 times 9, and that was on a previous slide. I think that might have been your starter actually. So now we know the length of the side of the square is 9 centimetres. So what is the perimeter? We know that one side is 9. We know there's 4 sides because it's a square. So it's going to be 9 times 4, which is 36. Okay, you could go around your square 9, add 9, add 9, add 9. Or a shorter way is just going 9 times 4. It's not squared because it's a straight measurement, it's a linear measurement. Question 13. A rectangle has a side length of 12 and a perimeter of 25. Right, we don't know the shorter length of the rectangle. What is the area? Okay, it's got a side length of 12. So I'm just going to draw out a rectangle and put that I know it's got 12 centimetres on top. So if it's got a length of 12, I know the other side is 12. So I've got 24 centimetres there on my path around the outside. But it's only 25 centimetres for the perimeter. So if I've got 12, if I add 1, that would be 24, 25, 26, which is too much. I've got to cut the 1 in half and just have half a centimetre at each length, at each side. Okay, so now if I go around here, my path around the outside, I've got 12 and a half plus another 12 and a half, which will give me my 25. What is the area? Okay, so now I know to find my area, it's length times width. So 12 times a half, or 12 halves will equal 6. So it's 6 centimetres squared. A square has an area of 64 centimetres squared. What is its perimeter? So this is a little bit like the first one. We need to find what multiplied by itself, because we're a square, will give me 64. So the square root of 64 here is 8 centimetres. So we know now that one side is 8 centimetres long. So what's its perimeter? So if we've got a square, we're going along 8, down 8, along 8, up 8. So we could do 8, add 8, add 8, add 8, or we can just do it 8 times 4, which is 32 centimetres. It's not an area, so it's not squared. Question 15. Gold leaf can be bought in 8 centimetre square sheets. So it's a little bit like this one. This is a square that's 8 centimetres. There are 25 sheets in one booklet. Work out the total area that can be covered using one booklet of gold leaf. And then Aidan needs to cover an area of 5,000 centimetres square with gold leaf. How many books of gold leaf does Aidan need to buy? Right, so let's look at A first. We need to find the whole total area. So if we find the area of one sheet, which is 8 times 8, which we've done up here, we know that the area of one sheet is 64 centimetres squared. there are 25 booklets. So now we need to multiply one sheet of gold leaf by 25, because there's 25 sheets in the booklet. That works out at 1,600 centimetres square. Now Aidan wants to cover something which is 5,000 centimetres square. So we need to know how many of these will fit into that. So I've got lots of zeros here, so I'm just going to divide by 10 to get rid of a zero off each end. I'm going to divide by 10 again. So now I've got 50 divided by 16. So 50 divided by 16 equals 3.125. If you've got a calculator, just do 5,000 divided by 1,600. You will still get this answer. But the trouble is you can't buy a little fraction of a booklet. So he would actually need to buy 7 whole books, and he would have a little bit of gold leaf left over. Okay, a little bit tricky, but well done if you've had an effort to do all 4 questions on your own. So finally, the challenge. On squared paper, draw a square, a rectangle, an L shape, and one more different shape, each of them to have the same area. So it doesn't matter what the area is, as long as you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different shapes that have the same area. Okay, that's just something for you to explore, have fun with. All your answers are going to be different, so that I'm not going to put up an answer sheet. And that's the end of area. Well done for watching and listening. It could be worth going through the whole video again, just to make sure what you've done is clear in your head. Okay? I will see you again in the next lesson.